Tonight's episode of 60 Minutes is proudly brought to you in association with Singapore Airlines. Tonight on 60 Minutes.
He calls himself the first Māori to win an Olympic medal.
And he's nailed a good one.
He's an Aussie, but New Zealand is his other home.
I was actually looking for a New Zealand flag to go around but no one threw me one.
This is the legend. This is the legend. He's better than Kathy Freeman. He's better than everybody.
In every sense, Jai Torima is no ordinary athlete.
Yeah, 2 burgers and chips. That's usually what I usually eat.
How many cigarettes do you smoke a day?
A pack. Yeah, easily.
How do you feel about that?
It's not that bad.
But his nana in Nuhaka doesn't agree.
Look how marvellous he'd be if he didn't do all the things he's doing. He'd probably be 10 inches ahead of the champion of the world, for all I know.
Okay, good afternoon, class. I'll greet you in the traditional way with a blessing. Bliss to you all. Bliss.
Professor John Tagg is indoctrinating his microbiology students, introducing them to bugs that have taken on cult status. What John Tagg and his colleagues here at Otago University have come up with is quite special. A bliss that controls or kills a bug that each year puts millions of people in hospital and kills each year about 500,000 people, most of them children.
In his sumptuous office atop his publishing empire sits Larry Fleet. A man who made his first million publishing sneaky nude photos of Jacqueline Onassis. You had no conscience about doing that?
No. I mean, fame's got a price on it. I happen to think pornography is the most purest form of art.
Are you hurt when people say you're a scumbag, you're a dirtbag, I think you even call yourself a bottom feeder?
Good evening, I'm Janet McIntyre. Those stories and more tonight on 60 Minutes. Rob, Mark, Barbara and Aaron. With the Olympics, New Zealanders had to count their blessings and medals when and where they could. But there is one more we could lay at least partial claim to, a silver medal won by a Māori, a first as far as we can tell. The winner, Jai Torima, Jumping Jai as he's become known. And while it's true he was wearing the green and gold of Australia, on his feet he wore specially made shoes, black and white for New Zealand. Jai Torima, the long jumper, the guy with the hair, the shades and the attitude. He caught the imagination of the crowd at the Olympic Stadium and of thousands of New Zealanders as he came to within a whisker of winning gold.
And I've just looked up and I've looked at 100,000 plus crowd and I'm thinking, I'm going to get every single person in here cheering for me. That's what I felt. It was just amazing.
And you did?
And I did, yeah.
Even for an Aussie, he's brash. In one long jump, grabbing Sydney's Olympic hysteria and revving it up a notch.
What was it like to have the crowd in the palm of your hand?
Oh, yeah, it was like I was a rock star. That's what I thought anyway.
That cocky style meant to get people's attention worked, and it's still working.
This is the legend. This is the legend. He's better than Kathy Freeman. He's better than everybody.
Now it's the crowd that's jumping.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
With the recently acquired manager who's promised to financially set him up for life and the gorgeous girlfriend, Jai Torima's life looks a lot like a rock star's.
How do you feel about all that attention?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I haven't bought a beer at a pub yet, which is fabulous.
Which is not to say you haven't had plenty.
Oh, I've had plenty, yeah. Still celebrating.
His silver medal bears the scars.
A few dings in it.
Yeah.
What?
I reckon it adds character to the medal. It's been partied and dropped. Bourbon and coked on.
Jai's medal surprised many of the pundits. His career has been marred by injury, and in recent years, he's had some disappointing performances.
For missing the bronze by the narrowest of margins.
I don't believe it.
But Jai himself was confident. After 3 years of full-time training, fully funded at the Australian Institute of Sport, he was in peak form and tattooed to prove it.
I think I'm Superman. I can fly through the air.
He was ready for Sydney and what ended up as a duel between himself and Cuban Ivan Pedroso.
Look at the noise for him. Can he go into the lead with this fifth round jump?
I actually said to myself before that fifth jump, I had 840, Pedroso had 841, and something in my mind went click. Do you want a gold medal? Do you want a silver medal? It just went gold. I want gold. So I was running down my fifth, and I jumped 849.
A full 14 centimetres further than his personal best.
And he's taken the lead.
I was really wrapped. I knew it was a big jump. I thought I was going to get a gold medal with it at that time. Before my mind said, no, you've got to have another one.
His sixth jump, and the pressure was obvious.
Every athlete dreams of being in this situation. Listen to the roar. We might top that now. Jai calls for more. Everyone's on their feet.
Before my last jump, well, I can't really say in words because I was swearing to myself a lot. And it was, you know, like, come on, you can get it on the board, all this kind of stuff. Run fast, keep it tight. Just go out there and get it, basically.
Jumping Jai. It's time to fly. Oh, it's going to be short.
The moment that I knew it wasn't, I come off the board and I've gone, that's not it. And I thought to myself, we'll just land it, thank the crowd, and then I sat down, started to cry.
Tarima cannot believe how close he's come.
In the space of just minutes, you had the greatest high and the greatest low.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see it as that much of a low because I thought, silver medal. Then I thought to myself, it's a silver medal at the Olympic Games, that's all right. I said, you know, that's pretty good. So I was pretty happy with it, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
To put it in perspective, 8.5 metres outstretches a stretch limo by a good 2 metres.
When I look at it now, when it's not on the long jump pit, it looks massive. You know, no human can do this. Especially in a car park with a stretch limousine. But on a run-up in the long jump pit, it doesn't look too far.
What makes his Olympic success all the more remarkable is that Jai says he partied till dawn the night before qualifying. And as a rule, there are no rules when it comes to his diet.
Yeah, 2 burgers and chips, that's usually what I usually eat.
But, you know, how come that works for you? Because all the nutritionists say that that's not what makes your body work well.
I think I've just been doing it all my life, so don't change anything if it's working.
Then there's his smoking, the chain variety, right up to the final.
How many cigarettes did you smoke that day?
Yeah, it was as soon as I woke up at 10 or 11. Yeah, it was a packet way before 4 o'clock. Yeah, because I was just so nervous. I was so nervous.
Nothing strange about that. He smokes at least a packet every day.
Could it not jeopardise your performance?
No, because it's not a aerobic event. We're on the run-up less than 5 seconds. You know, it's just pure speed and power, and that's all it is. It's not that bad. It's just a bit of a weight control thing as well. You've actually got to be really lean for long jump.
So you're saying you smoke to keep thin?
No, because I'm addicted, and it's the worst habit in the world.
Look how marvellous it'd be if he didn't do all the things he's doing. He'd probably be 10 inches ahead of the champion of the world, for all I know.
Jai's nana, 83-year-old Tumanako Torima, grows her own veggies in Nuhaka and insists on healthy living. She was shocked to read about Jai's habits.
It was my son who told me the other day, Mum, it's true, he does go to parties. I said, well, you see, I never brought any of my family up like that.
What will you tell him when he calls you?
Well, I'm just going to tell him off. I don't like what's in the papers. He'd probably say to me, oh, Nan.
Nanny too doesn't get to see much of the grandson who was raised in New Zealand until he was 4. She missed seeing the victories of the young Olympian in the making, but no way was she going to miss the biggest moment in Jai's life.
Well, I got a ring from one of my granddaughters from Welling. Nanny, put your TV on, Jai's on. But they'd already told me that he's in the finals. So I just sat there and watched him jump. But when he came second, I jumped for joy.
Did you actually jump?
Oh, yes.
Did you?
Yes. I screamed in my house.
In what way are you proud of him?
Well, he's a Maori and he's got the silver medal.
What do you think your identity is?
50-50, half Australian, half New Zealand. Definitely.
Why?
Dad's Maori and I'm very proud of that.
Have you always been?
Yeah, ever since I was really little. You know, Dad and my uncle Sid and all my uncles who'd come over from New Zealand, they used to sit me down and tell me stories about the good old days and what happened, what they did and all that, you know. It was fun.
And at the opening of the Olympics, a time when you'd expect him to feel all Australian, he didn't.
The Australian guys were going, singing Waltzing Matilda and Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. And then I looked across to the New Zealand team, which were sitting right opposite us. And I saw these guys taking their shirts off and stuff. I thought, I wonder what they're going to do. And they started doing the haka. And the first thing I wanted to do was take my shirt off and run right around, jump up there and do it with them. But, yeah, I'm not that fast.
Can you do the haka?
Yeah, I can.
Do you do it?
Not really, no.
The pride he feels in his multiracial background was wounded when he was labelled a racist just before the Games began. He commented that the, quote, dark American long jumpers would have no chance in Sydney's spring conditions. Do you think you are racist?
Oh, no, not at all. No, not at all.
Do you still stand by what you said?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it's exactly what happened. It did hurt the guys from warmer climates. The wet conditions in our qualifying knocked them all out.
Why did you say that?
Really wanted publicity for the long jump because we get none. We haven't got blonde hair and blue eyes, and we don't run 100 or 200 metres. So we don't get any publicity, and I thought this is the best way to do it.
Didn't he work the crowd tonight? And weren't they committed to him and his cause?
Ever the attention seeker, the silver medalist donned not one, but 2 Australian flags and would have taken a third.
I was actually looking for a New Zealand flag to go around but no one threw me one.
If you'd grown up and trained in New Zealand, do you think you would have won this silver medal?
Probably not. Basically because I think I could be surfing in Dunedin, and the funding, there is none.
So it was the funding that gave you the opportunity?
It gave me the opportunity to train full-time for this medal.
A night to remember for jumping Jai.
And a night when Jai did remember the mum who inspired him through his childhood and early career. She died of cancer 6 years ago.
I've got a tattoo on my shoulder. It's my little guardian angel, which is my mum, and I touched it and blew it into the air, and I said thanks for the jump. On the medal dais as well. Yeah, I kissed my medal and I said thank you.
From obscurity to celebrity in the space of one long jump, Jai Torima hopes to enjoy the Olympic afterglow, indulging in his other great passion, computer games. The man who's full of surprises says he's going to quit smoking before Christmas, buy 20 surfboards, and he has a new career in mind. What will you do when you can no longer long jump?
Well, I'm going to go back to uni and be a nurse, believe it or not. Yeah.
A nurse?
A nurse. I don't know, I like taking care of people. Sticking needles in them and stuff. No.
He says he wants to become a nurse.
Oh, does he?
What do you think of that?
I think he's pulling your leg.
Why?
Because you like to shock people.
For the next few years anyway, there's no doubt where Jai Torima's life path is heading. Straight to the next Olympics.
It's just the beginning. Now I'm going to go to Athens and I'm going to get the gold. Yeah, I'm going to give it my best.
When microbiology company Bliss Technologies listed on the New Zealand Stock Exchange last month, the company's owners were ecstatic. The shares they'd paid 10 cents for were suddenly worth $2.20 each, a gain of more than 2,000% in just a few weeks. This from a company that hasn't yet sold a bean. So why are investors so excited? Well, it's all to do with an eccentric Otago University professor and his 30-year search for an alternative to penicillin. A search for a new method of fighting the bugs that can give you a sore throat, that can cause rheumatic fever, cellulitis, not to mention some tooth decay. He's Professor John Tagg, and he calls his discovery bliss.
Okay, good afternoon, class. I'll greet you in the traditional way with a blessing. Bliss to you all. Bliss.
Professor John Tagg is indoctrinating his microbiology students, introducing them to bugs that have, well, taken on cult status.
See the sort of smile it gives? It raises the corners of your mouth, doesn't it? Cheese is sort of like that, but bliss really gets the corners of the mouth up beautifully. 1, 2, 3.
And he's even developed a mini-drama to show them just what some bacteria get up to.
Now, while I'm attached here, I'm actually quite happy. I can feed, I can breed, I actually have everything that I need.
So just what is bliss? And why is John Tagg so passionate about it?
A bliss, it's a nice little acronym for bacteriocin-like inhibitory substance.
It's a substance excreted by one bacteria to control or kill another. This is bliss at work. The red patches show where bliss chemicals have killed a bacteria in a culture.
Usually bacteria produce bliss that gun down the relatives. Now that seems a little bit perverse at first. Why would you want to kill your relatives? But when you think about it, isn't it your relatives, really, say, sitting around the kitchen table that are competing with you for the nutrient resources of the family?
Professor John Tagg's been playing around with bliss for more than 30 years. He's so fanatical about it, his family gave him the bliss number plate for his van.
I've been fairly single-minded, I guess, throughout my career and always been seeking the elusive bliss.
So what is it about bugs that turns you on? A lot of people would think they're the most boring thing on earth, surely.
Not boring for me, I'll tell you. They each have their own individual personalities and character traits, and each one is recognisable to a microbiologist because of their special characteristics. But one thing in common about all bugs, they're really good at multiplying. So if we gave them enough goodies to eat and the room to grow in, it's been calculated that one bacterial cell multiplying at that sort of rate within 24 hours would create a mass greater than that of the Earth.
Are they smarter than us?
I think they're the ultimate survivors. I think the bacteria will inherit the Earth. So if that makes them smarter than us, yeah, they're smarter than us.
Blissed are the bacteria,
yes,
for they shall inherit the Earth. But it's not just any old bliss Professor Tagg's been looking for. He's been searching for bliss produced by a bacteria known as streptococci.
Streptococcal bliss are natural antibiotics produced by some streptococci which gun down, in this case, the ones we were particularly interested in, Streptococcus pyogenes, the bacteria that cause sore throats.
The bad stuff.
The bad guys.
Why do some people have this bliss and others don't?
We're not sure why some people are blessed with bliss and others don't have bliss. It seems that really a defining moment is that moment of birth. When we're born, the baby's there, pops out. The baby is microbiologically sterile for those first few minutes. And then the relatives and the attendants, they start poring over the baby. And, oh, splendid chappie! And they're spitting on the baby, effectively. And what they're spitting on the baby is their Strep salivarius. And so whoever gets the most spits in that first few hours of life really has a major impact on what sort of oral microbiota will develop in that baby's mouth.
There's nothing particularly new about the bliss concept. Back in the 19th century, Louis Pasteur came up with the idea that one bacterium could be used to control another. A bliss called nisin's been used in the cheese-making process for several decades now. But what John Tagg and his colleagues here at Otago University have come up with is quite special. A bliss that controls or kills a bug that each year makes tens of millions of people sick. puts millions of people in hospital, and kills each year about 500,000 people, most of them children. As a 12-year-old, John Tagg suffered rheumatic fever caused by an untreated strep throat. For him, it meant taking penicillin for 11 years. But it also provided inspiration to find bliss, a way of preventing the disease.
I thought there has just got to be a better way to live than when you went out on the sporting field being worried about the fact that you would come back perspiring penicillin. Is there some better way really to prevent streptococcal sore throats?
In that penicillin perspiration, John Tagg found inspiration. He set out to find an alternative to penicillin.
Wouldn't it be better, I thought, if rather than waiting for the disease to occur, why don't we try to prevent the actual infection, the strep sore throat, by taking advantage really of our own natural microbiota, our own normal bacteria in our mouth that may be able to fight off the ones that cause the strep sore throat.
The breakthrough began 15 years ago when John Tagg began searching the mouths of his students and later Otago school children for a bliss that would control or kill bacteria that causes strep throat.
A small proportion of those children didn't seem to be getting strep sore throat. We thought, there's something interesting here. Why are they not getting strep sore throats when all of the others in the same class or even in the same family sometimes were getting the strep infections?
It turns out the children who weren't getting a strep sore throat had been colonised by a bacteria called Streptococcus salivarius, which sometimes produces a bliss to control the sore throat naturally. And not only do those children not get strep sore throats, they also don't get a variety of other diseases that the sore throats can lead to.
Septicemia, which can be life-threatening within a very short period of time. It can extend sometimes to various skin infections, and you may have heard of necrotizing fasciitis, the flesh-eating disease, so that's not a happy thing to have. It can lead to glomerulonephritis, which is a kidney disease. There's a whole myriad of different conditions that strep, a wayward strep, can actually lead to.
If this is a treatment which is safe and effective and it can prevent this rheumatic fever and the consequences to our population, then I would certainly be very interested to see further research into it.
Wendy Walker is a paediatrician at South Auckland's new Kids First Hospital. She sees firsthand the huge cost of untreated strep throats.
Well, in terms of our whole society, it's millions and millions of dollars each year. But of course it has an incredible impact on families. The financial burden of having a child in hospital, often a parent being off work, and then once the child goes home from hospital, they don't go home back to their normal life.
Most kids suffering rheumatic fever come from impoverished backgrounds, with parents who find it difficult to pay for penicillin. Some will require heart surgery, and around 130 New Zealanders die each year as the result of rheumatic fever.
Well, there's certainly pockets where rheumatic fever is a major problem, and that would be here in South Auckland. Northland has very high rates, and so does the Gisborne East Coast area. And that's where there are high percentage of Māori and Pacific people and high degrees of poverty.
Well, how does poverty affect a sore throat?
Well, poor people are less likely to access primary care and get that essential treatment.
We're quite convinced that if we can get the bliss-producing organism into the child's mouth, we will offer some protection against strep sore throat.
Are you going to put penicillin manufacturers out of business?
We don't want to do that because penicillin still has an important role. It is important, really, if you do have an active strep sore throat infection, to cut down the numbers of organisms as quickly as you possibly can. Penicillin will do that. Whether bliss can do that, it may be able to do it, but it's not something we've really looked at closely.
But it will prevent the strep from getting in there.
It will prevent the initial infection.
In future, John Tagg's bliss may colonise the oral world. And it could be as simple as drinking a cup of flavoured milk.
First of all, we're checking out whether you've got any bliss bugs already on your tongue. So we let you do the stroking there.
And about, what, 10% of people do have it already?
About 10% will have bliss bugs already in their tongue.
Chocolate today, chocolate milk, yeah. So I'm about to be colonised. Or recolonised, whatever the case may be.
Defining moment.
Okay.
So about half of it, just swill it around your mouth.
And the taste? Well, just like chocolate milk.
Good stuff.
And that's all there is to it. Streptococcus salivarius BK12 has now colonised my tongue. Otago University owns the intellectual property rights from salivarius B, and they've just done a deal with a new public company, Bliss Technologies. They get $2 million up front, but the potential for royalties in the future is far, far greater.
The fundamentals of this technology are, one, that it's new, two, that the intellectual property is valuable, and three, that it's able to be patented worldwide.
David Parker, Bliss Company lawyer. He says big international drug and food companies are already knocking on his door. But it'll be another 18 months before you and I can buy a product containing Bliss. I guess the children that are most in need of salivarius B live in third world countries. Now, at the end of the day, will they be able to afford Bliss?
I would expect that the technology will be able to be made available on affordable terms to those third world countries that can't afford the antibiotics that are traditionally used to provide a cure for strep throat in first world countries.
So your shareholders will be discerning? Americans one price, Bangladeshis another?
I would hope so. I mean, none of these things have been charted in any particular detail as yet, but I would hope so.
And the Bliss that controls strep throat, salivarius B, may be just the first of many. Cramped into the freezers in the corridors and lift wells around John Tagg's laboratory are hundreds of other types of Bliss.
Not only will we be able to move forward with salivarius B, but some of the other bacteria, some of the other hundreds of bacteria that we have in here will have their chance really to be stars.
It sound like you're very close friends almost, don't they?
After so many years, I really do think of the bacteria almost like family.
And as for John's family, what do they think of having a dad who's so close to his bacteria? You got colonised very early on, I suppose.
Yes, first round, I think it was, before it was approved by ethics approval or anything like that. Before it was tested on animals. Tested on the family first of all.
Well, if they want to be fed, they've got to earn their keep. I think that's only reasonable.
The eccentric professor and his secret sign. But behind it all, he's a modest man whose passion for bugs could lead to a whole new way of treating disease.
I think the Streptococcus is a pretty cunning critter. It's just waiting for the right moment, I think, and then once penicillin resistance develops, there's going to be a really major problem worldwide in relationship to prevention of rheumatic fever. That's when something like Bliss, an alternative, will become more important, I think.
In the tacky world of hardcore publishing, there's no one quite as colourful, not quite as brazen as Larry Flint. But the man who made millions out of Hustler magazine is a bit of a contradiction. On the one hand, he's condemned as an evil pornographer. On the other, he's hailed as a champion of free speech. In both roles, he's made his share of enemies who've had him jailed, had even tried to assassinate him. But as Liz Hayes reports, as much as you'd love to hate him, there's something fascinating about the man. So fascinating, in fact, that Hollywood made a blockbuster movie about his life.
In his sumptuous office atop his publishing empire sits Larry Flint. A man shameless in his objective, to make money, and lots of it, selling the sorts of photos Playboy and Penthouse won't touch. A man who made his first million publishing sneaky nude photos of Jacqueline Onassis. You had no conscience about doing that?
No. I mean, fame's got a price on it.
Are you hurt when people say you're a scumbag, you're a dirtbag, I think you even call yourself a bottom feeder?
No, I insist that they just call me Mister.
The reason Mr. Flint is considered a lowlife by the fervently religious and politically correct is because just 4 floors below all the French antiques churns Larry Flint's Dark Beast, the huge selling and hardcore Hustler magazine.
Yes, post-operative transsexual. Yes, you're interested in a pictorial?
I happen to think pornography is the most purest form of art, you know.
Is it true that you've offered $20 million for Hillary Clinton to pose nude?
No, that was a remark made in jest. I said, look, it's not the Cindy Crawfords or the Christy Brinkley's that you're going to make your money off of. You know, give me new pictures of Queen Elizabeth or of Hillary Clinton, you know, and I'll make millions. And I was trying to point out that it's the icon celebrity status of the person involved, and it has absolutely nothing to do with sexuality.
His is the tale of a very twisted American dream that began in dirt poor Kentucky. The son of an alcoholic hillbilly, an enterprising young Flint sold moonshine whiskey and fantasized about being tall, dark, and handsome. Why were you self-conscious of your red hair and freckles?
Because everybody else always got the girls, you know.
So even at that tender age of, 8 or 9, you were aware that the girls didn't like red hair and freckles?
Yeah, and I felt the rejection, too. And, of course, that just made me more determined to try harder.
Flint soon developed his own way with women. In the army, he developed such an appetite for prostitutes and bad living, the officers kicked him out. By the time he was in his early 20s, Larry was broke and had 3 failed marriages behind him.
One lady was never enough for him, you know. I mean, he had to have 6, 8, 10 women in one day.
So, in the early 1970s, Larry and his little brother Jimmy pooled their talent and opened a go-go club called Hustler.
I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. There was like 40 beautiful women, you know.
There, Larry fell for Althea Virtue, a stripper, and like himself, someone of very dubious virtue.
Moving on, asshole of the month.
Together, they set up Hustler magazine, and together soon landed in court, fighting in the famous obscenity trials on which the movie The People vs. Larry Flint was based.
I say Larry Flint. I like that, bro. I mean, everybody thinks I'm an asshole.
Yeah, it's true.
Is that right?
I will not allow them into evidence.
Ever the stirrer, Flint has himself cast as the judge.
The jury is representative of community standards, not a pile of magazines. I won't admit them.
The trials were test cases of American values, and the redneck backlash was almost predictable. Leaving court one day, Flint and his lawyer were gunned down. The shooting left him a paraplegic.
I personally believe, and I think I'll be able to prove it before long, that this was done by the CIA or the FBI or elements within.
Physical pain and paranoia about the shooting gave way to drug abuse and depression. For 3 years, Larry and Althea shut out the world. They stayed in their bedroom in the Hollywood Hills, running their burgeoning magazine empire from behind a steel door.
I have to run as a Republican because it's in the best interest of my campaign.
When the couple did emerge from home, it was in bizarre circumstances. Before Althea drowned accidentally in their bathtub, Larry made a bid for the presidency on a platform of eliminating ignorance and venereal disease.
I really was saying to them, hey, you know, I've been shot, I'm paralyzed, you know. What are you going to do to me now? Kill me? You know, let's go for it, you know.
And Larry did go for it. His hustler antics this time landing him in the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court, resulting in one of the most sensational trials of the century.
The rule you give us says that if
you stand for public office or become a public figure in any way, you cannot protect yourself or indeed your mother against a parody if you're committing incest with her in an outhouse.
In the case, the high-flying television evangelist Jerry Falwell sued Flint over a satirical ad suggesting he'd had sex with his mother. Flint won.
The Supreme Court has made several decisions on this, and they will protect the press in almost any instance, with the exception of them breaking into your bedroom or your home and taking pictures.
And you think that's okay?
If you don't want to be a movie star or you don't want to be a politician because you don't want to give up your privacy, then don't do it. But if you are going to choose that profession, then accept that you're not going to have any privacy.
Larry is driven by a need for the limelight, and Hollywood's B-list clamour to anything with his name on the bill. But what goes round comes round.
I wouldn't wish my childhood on anybody. It's because it was so painful. I suffered so much abuse by my father, every kind of abuse, every type of abuse.
Flint's own private life came under intense scrutiny when his eldest daughter, Tonya, came forward with outrageous claims of incest.
I think she was just spiteful, and I think she wanted to get her name and print and her face on the tube. You see, I've got three other...
This is your own daughter?
I've got three other daughters I have a wonderful relationship with.
It's part of being a public figure.
So, you know, I've been accused of everything else, you know.
But is that the most painful allegation you've had?
I would say so. Because not only is it painful because it affects me personally, but that's also something that I take a very strong position against as far as publishing goes.
Flint is now estranged from Tonya, but just about everyone else in the family now shares his millions. Another daughter, Teresa, runs the newest Larry Flint venture, Hustler Hollywood. You obviously made a decision very early in life that what your dad did was okay.
Yeah, because he raised me that it was okay. The first issue of Hustler came out when I was 5.
Is that right?
Yeah, 5 years old, so I've grown up around it.
Then there's the new Mrs. Flint.
This residence was designed by Mr. Flint, my husband, and...
You call him Mr. Flint?
Well, when I address him when I'm with other people.
Liz is Larry's former nurse.
It's wonderful, you know, because he's such a wonderful man, and it's just my respect for him.
Liz also holds a swag of company titles, although you do get the feeling she'd prefer to stay away from that sex stuff.
He's an intellect. I mean, politics is his hobby, and, you know, publishing is his profession, but he's a wonderful man, and you fall in love with him.
And you did.
And I did.
But try as she may to avoid it, what her husband does is trade in smut. Currently, his magazine is offering $1 million for information on the extramarital affairs of the nation's politicians. It's Flint's way of highlighting the hypocrisy of those who impeached his good friend and serial womanizer, Bill Clinton. Did Bill Clinton thank you for what you did?
Indirectly, but I don't feel it's the president's best interest to align himself with me. He's got enough problems.
Flint's campaign has already claimed one scalp. The dirt digging ended Bob Livingston's run for the nation's third highest office when he was exposed as an adulterer.
I will not stand for Speaker of the House on January 6th.
But Flint hasn't finished yet.
We're building dossiers on several members of the Senate and the Congress.
Gary Flint says he has discovered something studying the public's indifference to the sexual shenanigans of the president. America is growing up about sex. And he likes to think he's had something to do with it.
I think I've expanded the parameters of free speech. I think history will be much kinder to me for that than the present-day media.
So you won't be a scumbag and a dirtbag when you die. You'll only be that while you're living. Is that how you see it?
I think it could very well play out that way.
Last week on 60 Minutes, Quintessential Quinn, the grand man of rugby television commentates.
While in Hat, I'd plump for Hat.
He's experienced the depths of despair, looked death in the eye.
And good on him.
There was a few weeks, perhaps a month or so, when I was revisited.
Has diminished somewhat. Something essential is missing. I hope that someone will tell Keith how much we will miss him. Also last week, good cop, bad cop. Cameron Bennett spoke to former policeman Leon Piggott just before he was locked up in prison for the possession and supply of cannabis.
I've let the whole New Zealand police force down by what I've done. There's no way I can fix
charges to 18 months imprisonment.
What on earth made you deal in dope?
No, I'm not prepared to answer that question.
Ben Knight from the pro-marijuana group Normal had this to say about the investigation and conviction of Leon Piggott. I'm writing to express my disgust at the harsh and overzealous punishment handed out to ex-police constable Leon Piggott. His case highlights both the hypocrisy and the utter futility of cannabis prohibition in this country. Rather than locking up Mr. Piggott and some 500 other unlucky cannabis growers and dealers, why not regulate and tax the booming cannabis trade in New Zealand? Next week on 60 Minutes, Size does Auckland, they launched Aria, the biggest motor launch ever built in New Zealand. We'll meet the billionaire publisher who owns Aria, and we'll meet the Kiwi who built her and whose shipyard is stretched to contain these